Right, so this week is National Diaper Need Awareness Week, and it's not just that we need them to clean up the baby's pee and poop.
Yeah, Westside Baby is the only nonprofit that focuses on the issue, and the need really is great here at home. So we have Becky Schroeder and we have Cody Roth with us to talk about the need and also how people can help at home. But I think let's hit the overall health issue. It's not just, like you said, about pee and poop. It really is about the overall wellness of a baby.
Absolutely. I think that, when you really think about how simple a diaper is, you don't necessarily think about the ripple effects that a diaper can have on a child's health. A child who does not have enough clean diapers, a family who's experiencing diaper need, means that that child is in those critical early years and, their physical health is impacted, but also their development, their cognitive and social and emotional well-being is compromised when a family doesn't have enough diapers and can't send their child to daycare.
Now, some people, and in some countries, it's more traditional to use cloth diapers, and they wash them. What do you caution parents about that here in our area?
I think that that's such a wonderful option, and it's not necessarily available to all families. Cloth diapers are really labor intensive and time intensive, and many daycare centers don't actually allow cloth diapers.
Right.
So those disposable diapers are a critical option to have, but cloth is wonderful too.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying. And those people might not have access to, all the things that they need to launder those, like you mentioned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What exactly is the need? Because it's pretty great here in King County, and also we can assume Western Washington if it's in King County as well.
Absolutely. So in King County, I was shocked to learn that 23% of families, almost a quarter, experience diaper need, the families with young children. And that means that, nearly 1 in 4 of our neighbors right here in King County are unable to afford an adequate supply of diapers. And like we talked about, the ripple effects of that.
So Becky, where do you guys come in as an organization?
Yeah, so we have the awesome privilege of partnering with over 114 different social service agencies right here in King County. This is everything from food banks to public health to domestic violence shelters. And we partner to get those diapers out to the kids in need. And just yesterday, we actually gave away 160,000 diapers to our partners, which we're so excited and proud of.
Aren't you giving away like 60-something thousand as well today?
Well, yes.
75,000?
75,000 to Highline Hospital for their birthing center, and that's going to support our neighbors in the Burien area.
So that's all 230,000 over the last 2 days. What if I'm watching this segment and I do have some leftover, boxes of diapers
just like
in my
loose
garage
diapers,
or something?
right?
What do I do with them?
We will take them. So we have 2 Westside Baby locations, one in White Center and one in South Lake Union. And then we also have a number of community collection sites that can be found on our website, westsidebaby.org.
Okay, and then I'm just wondering too, not to bring it back, but what are people doing if they don't have access to diapers? They're reusing diapers, or what are you saying?
Yes, so they are prolonging the time that a diaper will last them when they can't afford enough. And that means, actually, we know from recent studies that 3 out of 5 families who have experienced diaper need the parent has missed a day of work in the last month because they can't send enough diapers to daycare. So they're really kind of trying to prolong the use, reusing them, again, compromising the health of their child, and no parent wants to do that, right?
So we've set up a way that viewers can help. If you text the word diaper to us, and our phone number is 206-448-4545, you can learn a little bit more and find a link to know exactly how you can help if you weren't watching or you're not recording on the DVR, so that people can make a difference. But one more time, hit us with the website that people can head to.
westsidebaby.org.
Easy,
All right, perfect.
easy.
Thanks you guys so much for
I'm
joining
going to donate
us.
this one. This is Chris Zito, our producer. He had 1 diaper in his truck because I forgot my diaper, so there you go.
Thank you.
But it will help somebody, right?
Yeah.
Every little pebble in the ocean helps. Thanks you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's turn our attention